Um, Thank you for joining us today. I am Dan Laird. I am an academic project manager with Campus Technology Services. I am joined by Paul Beard from Bookstore and Kurt from Redshelf. And Kurt's going to be talking to us a little bit about inclusive access with Redshelf and how it works. And take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks everybody who hopped on here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns while I'm presenting, feel free to either come off mute and just ask, or you can post a message in the chat. And if I don't see it, Dan, I'm sure we'll keep an eye on it. Cool. So the whole basis of this today is to just give a little bit more information about inclusive access and what Redshelf is able to provide and what we have been providing for SUNY Oswego over the last 6 to 7 years or so. So kind of like I was saying, an inclusive access overview. I will show you a quick little demo of what a student might experience if they participate in inclusive access. And then we'll open it up for FAQ and Q&A session at the end, should there be any outstanding questions. So first of all, my name is Kurt Schwerman. I've been with Redshelf for just about 5 years now. 2 years in a director role on our customer success team. So I oversee the East region of the United States for Redshelf. We also have a West region, a Central region, and South region with their own directors as well. So just a little background on Redshelf and in partnership with Oswego. We've been partnered with Oswego since 2016. We're a Chicago-based educational technology company that was founded in 2012 in a little apartment building on the city's north side. We have serviced over 1,500 campus partners, and we work with upwards of 10,000 publishing partners as well. We've delivered over 2 million units this fall through our partners in independent stores, which is a record for us. That number will no doubt continue to grow. So just a little bit of a closer look at inclusive access here at Oswego specifically. Just transparent, the numbers on the left here, 91,000 students serviced through this spring. That's a rough estimate. It could be a little more or a little less, but that's the data that I was able to pull. Over the course of each inclusive access semester since we started, only about 1.9% of students have chosen to opt out. So under a 2% opt-out rate. 58 different departments have taken part in inclusive access at one point or another. And there have been a total of 33 unique publishers used in the inclusive access program thus far. On the right-hand side here, the graph will show you how many students took part in the IA program by semester. So you can see it's been a rather steady growth. This spring and fall, I guess more so. We saw a little bit of a dip, but nothing much. Overall, the program has been growing term over term. Taking a look at a little bit of some price savings. Now, this is what we really like to get out there and explain when we have, whether it's faculty, departments, or even schools as a whole contemplating whether to go into the inclusive access program. It's these student savings that are really the most important part here. So, for example, this spring term, CRJ 210 is using this Rebel product. The standard price out on the open market for that, if you were to go to redshelf.com or pearson.com, you'd be paying as a student about $138. By this being placed into the inclusive access program, the student's only paying about $85, which is a $53 saving. And on the right-hand side, for just a standard ebook adoption, again, a student could pay around $48 for that if they wanted to go outside of inclusive access. By being in IA, they're only going to pay about $31.05. So those are really the main benefits outside of first day access that inclusive access will provide. It's just student savings, the amount of money that they can keep in their pockets as they're attending school. And then in addition to that, we make course material available for students anywhere from 2 weeks prior to the start of a semester all the way up to when class starts. I know that there are instances where sections will be added late, even after a semester might begin, and that's totally fine. But I really wanted to make sure that to make this point clear that student savings and first day access is going to be the two biggest benefits by participating in this access. Any questions up to this point? All right. So why are most students arriving on the first day of class without their required materials? And this little web kind of outlines that. You can see how sophisticated it can be. Maybe a student wants to try and purchase from the internet and shipping delays occur. Campus bookstore, you know, it all depends on what's in stock. The instructor may be telling them to do one thing and the student has other ideas. By being in inclusive access, it bypasses all of this, and students are guaranteed to have their materials in their accounts by the first day of the class. So as an instructor, I know how important that is. You don't want your students to show up first day and not have their books or courseware material, whatever it might be. Being in the IA program eliminates all of that. Eliminating student disruption. This comes through modernizing your content delivery system. So again, being in the inclusive access program, you submit your adoptions to the bookstore, they submit them to us at Redshelf, and we place the materials in the student accounts at discounted rates by the first day of class. So it eliminates this whole picture, as it says here, chaos, anxiety, stress. We're able to help relieve most, if not all of that, and make sure that students have what they need. So just another high level overview of the different benefits to different groups that may be involved in the inclusive access program. For students, it's a total convenience. They don't have to really do anything other than register for class. And we, Redshelf, we place their books in their accounts without the student having to do anything. We have accessibility features within our e-reader platform, so any students with disabilities, they don't get left behind. We're able to service them. It's the maximum affordability for course materials. Going back to a couple slides ago when I showed the different student savings, being in the IA program is going to give them the biggest discounts that they can find, and then built-in study tools with our e-reader platform for any classes using an ebook. We have the ability for students to make highlights within the book, create their own flashcards, create their own study guides, and numerous other built-in features that students really find helpful when it comes time to study for tests or just get through the whole semester. For the faculty, you have insight into a lot of data when you participate in the inclusive access program. You can check and see when students have logged in to their accounts. You can see if they've opened up their books. We at Redshelf can see that as well. If you have any questions about students using their books, we can look into that for you. First day access, as I already mentioned, is a huge benefit to being in the inclusive access program. Seamless access, there are not many hiccups or roadblocks along the way. The books are placed into student accounts and they can get to those books through the LMS, which we can teach well here as we go. And then an overall increase in success rate. The more that students have access to their materials and the different study features that are within those materials, you're going to see a higher success rate as a faculty member. And then lastly, the benefits to the store here in the school. It's going to increase your sell-through. It's going to decrease, the space that's taken up by books within the bookstore. And then increase in efficiency with getting books into student hands. And as I said, a maximum sell-through. I don't know specifically what the sell-through is here at the Oswego bookstore, but overall, participating in the IA program is gonna get you to the maximum sell-through rate that you can look for. So this is a little graph or image here that shows kind of where SUNY Oswego falls on the digital course material delivery map. So right now Oswego is here. They have course by course inclusive access. We do have a lot of schools who don't participate in IA and they would use the point of sale systems that they have in place. But Oswego right now is right here in the second tier. So we're seeing, like I said, maximum affordability, high sell-through rates. It's more revenue for the bookstore and first day access for students in participating courses. Looking forward, there's room to go campus-wide IA, which would be all the benefits that I've already discussed. But it would go on a complete campus-wide level, so each class would be participating in the IA program. And then more and more schools are starting to move toward the equitable access option, but that's a conversation for another day. So I will quickly give you a run over of what a student may experience when they participate in the inclusive access program. Now, I don't have access directly to Oswego's D2L or Brightspace instance. So what you're seeing here is where a student would land after they use or click on the Redshelf link that would be present in D2L for them. So within each individual course shell in D2L that is participating in inclusive access, there would be a Redshelf link. A student would click on that and it would bring them straight here to their, what we call their My Shelf page. Any materials that a student has purchased out of pocket, whether in store, digitally, from redshelf.com, whatever it may be, will appear here at the bottom for them. Any courses participating in inclusive access they are a part of, you'll see right here under the My Courses section. So I've gone ahead and enrolled myself just for the time being in a course that is using courseware as well as just a standard ebook. So I will show you both of those here. I can pull up the instructions for how to set up a course in Brightspace.
Our IA site has the knowledge base article. If you don't have it, you can't do.
Okay.
So if you go to oswego.edu/etext, there's a I believe it's either a help or resource page that has those instructions. So
but from a student experience perspective, if they're in a class using just a standard ebook in the IA program, they would have access to it right here in their My Shelf page. So they would click on the image of the title, And then down here, they would want to click the blue read now button. And they will automatically be placed within the Redshelf e-reader where they can read their text. As well as use the different features that we have built in here, like I noted before. So they have the option to create notes and highlights, flashcards. They can copy content for them to reference at a later date. There's all sorts of different features in here for accessibility. It's the e-reader platform itself has won a number of awards in the past, and it's something that we are really proud of, and students have had a great experience with so far. Back up here. So now if a student is enrolled in a course that is using courseware, so something like a Pearson MyLab, McGraw-Hill Connect, Cengage MindTab, any of those things, they would click here. And what Oswego has done is they've partnered with Pearson to implement a process that is referred to as partner integration. So in the past, most students, when they purchase a Rebel or MyLab, they would get an access code that they would then have to go and redeem on the publisher's website in order to gain access to their material. This eliminates that whole step. So instead of getting an access code that they have to take elsewhere, students instead would click on this access courseware button. And I don't think this is going to work for me because I don't have access to the LMS. But a student would click on that button and it would take them straight into their material on Pearson's side. Again, without any need for an access code. So if you happen to be using Pearson courseware, it would be beneficial for the students, especially to have that moved into the inclusive access program when you consider cost savings and ease of access to getting into their material. I will go back over here now. Some of the common questions that have come up in the past when discussing with schools about whether or not certain classes and products should be moved into the inclusive access program. Like I just highlighted a minute ago, courseware products are going to be what makes the most sense. They are the most expensive for students. Moving them into IA is going to cut that cost significantly, and it's going to make accessing the material much easier than it would be if they were purchased on the market. How do students get access to this? And this was, I think, a question that was asked in the chat, but instructors or LMS administration must add in the Redshelf tool to their course and we have a set of instructions that either myself or Dan can distribute after the call here. And we'll go through step by step how to install the tool, and it also includes a video screen capture that shows you how to do it as well. But by having this link, it allows students the option to opt out of the inclusive access program should they choose to do so. If access codes are required, they would get those through this link, but here at Oswego, most if not all access codes have been eliminated in the IA program. And it would also give them access to their ebooks if that's what their class is using. Some best practices, if your class does take part in the IA program, communication is absolutely a key to the process. Informing your students that they're going to be in the program and how to use it eliminates a lot of trouble when the semester begins. So easy to access their material without a code by going directly through D2L. Again, it's going to be the lowest possible price that a student can get for their material, and they'll have it within their account by the first day of class. And then the bottom 2 points here, May apply, may not apply. I'll focus on the second one. How does an instructor help a student when they have a problem or problems with the program? If it's just an individual student who has an issue, we refer them to our customer support team through Redshelf Solve, where they can also submit a ticket. We have a number of help articles on the Solve page that may answer the question. If you or a student are not getting the answers you're looking for in those articles, you have the option to submit a ticket directly to our support staff. And they are really quick at turning those around and getting back to you with a solution. These two items can also be used for courseware access issues. When a class is using something like a MyLab or a Rebel, Redshelf is only really handling the opting for those situations. So any issues that come up with the courseware, those problems can be submitted to our support staff, and then they will work with the publisher to get those resolved. If it is a full course having a problem, a book is not showing up right, a book is not working, whatever it might be, that's when you would want to either reach out to the bookstore or myself in that situation and get those corrected. Are there any questions, any points that I can help to clarify? Anything that I may have missed that you would like a little more information on?
I'm going to put the link to our support article in the chat.
Okay. So in the chat, Dan just posted the link for installing the Redshelf link in your E12 course. I would recommend bookmarking that, saving that, as it can be helpful when it comes time to begin each semester.
Yeah, we made a custom article just so we got screenshots from our particular instance because of where the tool link is. So,
Got it.
I've got a question. Is text to voice available for all IA products?
If it is a standard ebook on our e-reader platform, yes. If it's a MyLab or something that the publisher owns, it could be publisher specific. But any ebooks on our platform do have a text to speech feature.
Usually most courseware else has it, but it's dependent on the publisher.
Right.
So
So these instructions that you linked to, that's regardless of the publisher that you're using, be it Pearson, Cengage, but that's not all. I mean, there's more you have to do, right? So do you have
Let me take a look here.
I mean, I've done this before, but I already forgot because it's been a while. So I was hoping for a refresher and walk through, but
Yeah, I think that what Dan's put together here is
yeah, that's all.
exactly what you're going to need.
Yeah, and once you get done with that last step where you select the Redshelf digital learning materials, that'll put the Redshelf link in your content area. So that's after you do that, you click on the link and it will activate the product. So that's it.
okay.
Anything else that I can help with?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused about how to get started. I go to redshelf.com, I find, my textbook I'm using, and then do I have to coordinate with the bookstore or anything, or how do I do this, I guess is what you sold me on the value of it, but how do I get started putting my text into this?
I will let either Paul or Dan answer that, because I'm sure they have a workflow that they'd like to use.
They normally email you.
Right, normally I would get some communication on what textbook you want to use, and if there's courseware that you would like, then I would set up with Redshelf what the ISBN would be that we'd be using, because most often it's a unique ISBN. It's not the same that you would see in a hardcover book that you may be looking for. And we would set up that flow so that Redshelf knows what book and if there's courseware, and they load the course so that it's available usually a couple of weeks before the semester. So by knowing what book you want, what edition, the author, the ISBN of that book, that's the information I flow into Redshelf.
Yep, so Paul alerts us that you want to use that text, and then we work with the publishers to make sure that we have pricing correct. And that the book is available, and that it's in your students' accounts before the first day of class.
Could you also share the link for students who are having problems accessing their materials?
Yes, 1 second.
I have that on our support site. Do you want me to share that?
I think I got it already. So the link that I just placed in the chat for the solve.redshelf.com is where we have, there's a search bar right there on the landing page where students can type in any keywords or questions that they might have. It'll pull up a bunch of what hopefully are useful or helpful articles. If they're not finding what they need, then in the top right corner on that page, you'll see a button to submit a request. That is where a student can fill out different bits of information and submit it to our support staff, who will receive a ticket and get back in touch with the submitter. It's typically within an hour or two max.
And if for some reason you misplaced the link, that's on our IA support site, which is that. So on that site, we have links to the support forums. We also have a couple of articles for students, how to access the course content in Redshelf, and how to opt out if they're unable to figure out how to do that on their own. And then at the bottom, there's also the link on how to set up Redshelf and Brightspace. There's also a blurb at the top of the support page that talks about, I don't know if we still have the issue with cookies in other browsers.
Not as much.
Okay. Usually I think we steer people towards Chrome as being the one that works the best, but it's gotten better recently, I believe.
Yeah, certain web browsers can pose some difficulties. So just to try and avoid that, we always recommend using Chrome for students and faculty who are going to take part in the IA program. Right. Anything else? Okay. I will stop the recording.